GM, you beautiful DJs, and welcome to another Wake and Jake, a new year edition of Wake and Jake. A little bit of kind of a little bit of a red time in the markets, but hopefully that resets itself here for the new year. I think it will personally. Jake, GM, bro, how was your weekend? How's everything?
Yeah, GM. Been some good holidays, hanging out with the fam, friends, all that. Yeah, we've had some nice plays in NBHQ as well, which has been fun for the past few days. Just despite the market overall choppy drawdown that we've been seeing, the bleeding, um, but still hanging on in the 90Ks at least. Yeah, man, I'm doing well. How about you?
Good, man. Good. Yeah, we found some nice plays between Christmas and New Year here. The last few days were decent. Obviously, the weekend's always a bit rough. Like Sunday was bad for me, but I also tried to stay more hands off on Sundays. But I did watch a lot of my bags bleed. I don't know why I hold this much stuff going into Sunday. I think I should be selling more on Friday, Saturday. I'm just looking for opportunity on Sunday because it just feels like there's just so much red, and especially now with New Year's coming up and how people are off for some reason, we always see red in the markets. We saw it on Christmas, we saw it on
Mhm.
Thanksgiving. We're even seeing it now, and I think this is probably going to be like the last chance people get to really like um tax loss harvest or whatever and sell for the last, what I mean, for 2024. But I really think like January, man, as soon as like even maybe a day or two before we flip over to January, like this week. Actually, yeah, we're already in the 30th, aren't we? So tomorrow we might get a bit of red, a bit of green. Maybe the day after we start really kicking it into gear. But I think January is going to be very hot. Like I'm really bullish here going forward. A little
Yeah,
bit of pain.
I feel the same.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. And definitely can get into that. I think. Well, just as kind of overview, real quick, as always. Bitcoin up, or sorry, down 2% on the week. ETH down 1.1%. Solana up 1.1% on the week. This was. I think we also had a dump like last Monday as well. It feels like every Monday we've been just dumping. Whereas when we were on the uptrend, it felt like every Monday we were pumping. So it's kind of funny. It just feels like there's usually quite a bit of volatility on Monday mornings with the stock market opening and stuff, and people coming back from the weekend. And on the downtrend, it's been against us here, sitting at 92K as we're recording this for Bitcoin. Um, yeah, man, I think based on the stuff that I'm seeing from macro, it's hard to kind of really know what's happening there. I've seen a lot of different opinions. Um, I'm not a macro expert, but I like to follow people who are. One who I like them obviously the most, reference him all the time, is Don Alt, and he is decently bearish in the short term. At least here's this tweet sharing in voice hangout right now. He says all the shit Trump wants to do, disregarding whether good or bad long term, is going to be massively painful for markets in the short term. No question mark. Um, so that's obviously a bearish tweet for just markets in general. I think not just coins, but the stock market as well. So I think that's interesting. It also kind of plays into the fact that it's New Year holidays, lower volume stuff, and the fact that inauguration is not till the 20th for Trump. So I think it makes sense that we would be, pretty choppy, maybe on a downtrend, continue the bleed here. Until then, just because it's uncertainty, a lot of uncertainty happening, and markets don't typically like uncertainty. We saw the same thing, leading up to the election. And it feels kind of like a similar moment of into that when we had I mean I don't think we're gonna chop as long as that. But it feels like a similar position, leading up to election where it's very choppy overall in the market and people were relatively risk off because they didn't know what was going to happen, and it kind of seems like that now is like people were kind of just waiting. One, they're gone for the holidays, vacationing, all that, so lower volume, bigger swings type stuff, and then also the Trump inauguration, like people are kind of waiting to see like what he does and like how fast he does it. Um, so I think that could also bring a bit of risk off conditions to the market as well. Um, so yeah, I think it just in general that just leads us to a bit of a wonky price action as we have certainly seen like over the past week. Bitcoin, as I said, is only down 2% or whatever from the week a week ago, but it was up. It was like got over 90K earlier or 98K earlier. It's been bleeding quite a bit since then. That was like a few days ago. Um, yeah, just all interesting. I don't really know exactly like how to unpack this. I am very similar to you, Jinzo. I think in general, like that this is like short term that we're talking about. And short term, I mean like maybe a few weeks, maybe like a good amount of January, 2 or 3 weeks, and then from there, in my opinion, we'll resume the bull action. I just don't think we're anywhere close to what like we saw in recent bull cycles where like retail was like fully in. And I just feel like retail just still hasn't really come. Like maybe they dipped their toes in a little bit after seeing Bitcoin break new all-time highs and then break 100K. But like it's if you think back, if you were here around last cycles, like it's not even close to the same sentiment. Like it still largely feels like like retail thinks crypto is like scammy. And I don't know about you guys, like everyone in my life knows that I'm in crypto, and I still have like not had like anyone ask me about it really. Um, there doesn't seem to be much excitement outside of our realm still. Um, for crypto stuff, and I just don't see us like topping before that kind of sentiment happens. And that's just kind of how I'm going. Is like more of a feel thing, which is certainly harder to time, but in general, like it just doesn't seem like we have topped here, in my opinion, especially with all the bullish promises that Trump has laid out for the crypto market in general. I'll stop there before we get to some of the bigger alts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on board with that. I've had a couple people talk to me about crypto, but it's mostly people that I've told about Bitcoin or whatever other coins for a while now, my good friends and stuff. And now that Bitcoin was at 100K, they're all like when I was seeing them now for the holidays, they're like, "Man, we should have listened to you." And they all think they're too late. And that's one of the signs I think that we're gonna push higher is that like a lot of people are still in that disbelief phase. The people that do look at crypto and aren't in yet, they all think they're late, and they're not. They're even scared to buy pullbacks because even Bitcoin at 90K to them is higher than the 10 or 15 or 20K they saw a few months ago. So a lot of fear still, but I feel like that disbelief phase is good. It's kind of what we need, right? It helps us it helps us push higher into FOMO, and I think that's what's coming. Let me just mute Cap. Cap, what's up? You there? Ah, there we go. Yeah, thank you. Um, but that's it. So it's been fun to see because it reminds me exactly of last cycle where things started moving up, and then a lot of people were kind of in disbelief, and that just helps fuel the fire, right? Like I mean, a lot of these people are just gonna fumble the top eventually, and so I don't think we're there yet because they're not buying yet. They're just talking about it still. We're about to flip higher. I think it's just a matter of time. I mean, every market has these downtrends and these like slow periods, and people a lot of the times a lot of people are throwing up their arms in the air saying it's over, and I'll only know we're going much higher when all of CT starts like capitulating, and then I'm like, yeah, okay, time to counter trade all the CT. We're going much higher now. But yeah, I mean, nothing to be worried about. I think short term, just let's flip over into the new year and take it from there. I think Q1's gonna be hot. There's so many airdrops coming, so many like projects being worked on that are coming also, and I just feel like holidays are throwing a lot of people off, making people think that maybe we're gonna go much lower, and I don't even think that's. We might get a flash crash, but when it's downtrending like this, we don't usually get flash crashes. We usually like bottom out for a few days and then pump back up. So that's what I think is gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're certainly in agreement. On the other coin side, not just Bitcoin, ETH, in Solana. We've been talking about this for a bit, and it's kind of been choppy in terms of are they gonna bottom versus Bitcoin? Are we gonna get an all season? They still, it feels like they do, and then and then they kind of hop around and like look like they're not going to bottom anymore, and then they do it again. And um, but I mean, they're still showing strength. Both ETH and Bitcoin, ETH and Sol more so lately. A couple people I follow again. One is OGD Farmer. He's talking about ETH Bitcoin with impulse move up. Time to pay attention, basically saying that, like, essentially saying bottom to ETH BTC. Um, not that's not saying that he thinks ETH is gonna like rip all of a sudden. It's more so like just ETH versus Bitcoin, obviously, and like they still could both go down, but maybe ETH doesn't go down as much, which is not fun, but is what it is. And then also on Web3 quant side, he's talking about Sol Bitcoin bottoming as well. And a couple other notable traders that have been to a little bit more recently. I still don't know if I fully am like want to like reference them, and just because I haven't followed them long enough as I follow these other guys to know like if they do give consistently good enough calls. But one of them is this Owen guy who's really popular um, trader, pretty well respected. He says BTC has bottomed it as well. That was like 2 days ago. Um, so there's definitely some bullishness around alts. In general, and maybe that just means Bitcoin bleeds, and the alts bleed not as much, which was contrary to what it's been for like the whole cycle, where when Bitcoin bleeds, the alts get hammered really hard. It seems like there's a bit of a bottom forming on them, but also in reverse, and Bitcoin does start to see some upward momentum. These could go up even more. And that's also reflecting itself in memes lately. They finally seem to be started, like, and I'm talking about like the bigger ones, stuff like Bonk, Pepe, Popcat, Whiff, Mog, the bigger ones that are listed on exchanges. Um, they've been showing quite a bit of strength, especially like in the past week or so, um, compared to compared to the past several months, where they've just gotten hit the hardest, and it's felt like never ending bleed on a lot of these big ones. And they're starting to show a bit of a bottom. Here's Web3 Quant calling a bottom. Um, he says there was a bottom. Now it's the retest. We are here. This was from late last night. And then he says breakout is soon. Or that's regarding just the bigger memes in general. So yeah, that would certainly be a nice signal for alt season. Alt seasons, good for us, because I'm sure most of us have a lot of our holdings in non-Bitcoin assets. If I had to wager, I'd say most of us aren't holding a majority of our portfolio in Bitcoin. We have a lot of other shit that we're gambling on. So certainly hope we can get that. But just in general, I think it shows, especially with like if we look at past cycles of the market, when we do expect a bit of a chop from Bitcoin, which I'm certainly feeling like, we then usually people want to, obviously they're not going to leave the leave the casino, right? They're just going to transition to other stuff. Um and I think people, like, liquidity kind of flows down a bit to some higher risk stuff when the majors aren't moving as much, and we could see some runners on maybe shit coins, or maybe it plays itself out in NFTs, and certainly we've seen quite a bit in like the AI agent sector of things. So I think it's even though, like, maybe we have some uncertainty and chop for Bitcoin, I don't think it's necessarily bad for quote unquote our bags. Everyone has different bags, but it could maybe help us where attention kind of flows back to some smaller cap, more degen stuff.
Yeah, agreed. I'm still bullish on memes, and I've been saying it for a few weeks that bottoms are not they're they're always it always looks like we're gonna keep going lower, but like bottoms on meme coins especially, like they run up so violently, and we've hit these zones before, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's done." Meme coins are done, but they always come back so hard. So I usually bid in this range, and then I wait for weeks, sometimes months. Like I really don't care. I just know it's gonna like a lot of them, the good ones especially, are gonna pop back up. They're not dead whatsoever. We just need to wait for the cycle to come back to them, and usually they're the hardest runners compared to like the mains or main alts, for example. I just love playing them. I love playing the violent run ups and then selling them in certain ranges when you hit 2 or 3x or whatever, maybe higher. And I don't mind parking my profits in there compared to alts. I know it's a little bit more risky, but I mean I always have my little fund that I allocate fund like my little few coins that I allocate my funds to, and then I just wait for a pump and sell out. I just think it's such an easy play, and it's been happening for years. It's not nothing new from this cycle. It's been happening for years. Pepe's been around for a while, and you know what I mean. Even before that, we had Doge, and we had Shiba, and we had a bunch of other ones. And I've always played it this way, and I've always had success with it. I mean, I know it's risky. A lot of people won't go this route, and either way, you have other opportunities. Like even Solana, I think is like free right now. I don't know if I'd play ETH, kind of like what you were saying. Like it hasn't shown the strength I'd like. You know what I mean? For me, it's like last cycle's Bitcoin, where Bitcoin didn't have enough like opportunity to run hard compared to other coins, so I wasn't really paying attention to it. It didn't make sense for me to buy Bitcoin last cycle, and I just bought Ethereum because it was ripping and all the attention was there. It's the same thing now with Solana. You know what I mean? I don't think I'm looking to buy any ETH. This is the least ETH I've had since I've came into crypto, and I think it's going to continue for the majority of this cycle. Like I'll transfer, I'll get some over there when I need to and stuff, and maybe I'll have just a bit of ETH to play with if there's drops that are interesting. Like maybe have an ETH or two ready on hand at all times. But for me, it's mostly been Solana, and I think it's going to continue. It just captures so much mind share, right? And that's usually what we're looking for. We're trying to go where the money is going. So we'll see what abstract and other chains bring. But right now, my focus is on Solana. I mean, I haven't even been concentrating on base, and I know that's a good place to focus also because it's a little bit slower paced. Um, and that's my blind spot really. Like I know we're gonna talk about it later, but like AI agents or virtuals and stuff, I feel like that's really a blind spot that I need to work on because I see a lot of people printing there. But just regarding to alts and meme coins, I think I'm not Murad bullish, but like I don't think we're going to 100 bill over here. It could happen on some coins, but I'm still bullish. We can make some great gains on meme coins, and they shouldn't be ignored. I don't think they're ever going away.
Yeah. Um, no, I'm certainly with you. I haven't been on base enough. I definitely dabbled with some stuff. I've talked a bunch about AIXBT. I'm always been super bullish on that account. Also, little shout out to NFT XBT, which is finally pick up a little bit of steam, even though they haven't launched really fully yet. They I guess they've dropped down a little bit since yesterday. But yeah, just in general, I mean, I think it's pretty clear that the AI agents aren't going anywhere. Like it's been a thing for quite a long time, and it's taking up all the mind share just in general of like crypto trader Twitter for the most part. Like if you look at which is another thing I wanted to talk about today, just mind share in general. But if you look at some of these trackers for it, it's like pretty dominant um, in general in terms of like the overall discourse of like crypto Twitter. Kato AI is one that is pretty popular right now. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen it if you're on Twitter. Um,
Yeah,
I think someone wrote a field report about it too, right? Let's see. Yeah, JD just wrote a field report about it a couple days ago. Shout out JD. Um, but they had like a NFT mint too. That's like I don't know, Last I saw I haven't checked it in like a week, but last I saw it was like 3 ETH or something like that. Floor. But it basically tracks like a bunch of different like mindshare metrics from different categories. Like it'll track pre TGE coins, has VC mindshare, it has like top just in general Yapper is what they call it of mindshare. So it's super interesting to see. I think, and this is all very important in my opinion, just because like in general, like in crypto, especially in the crypto world, like things prices and stuff appreciate based on, attention. Like attention just drives so much of what we do. So those who are able to continually garner the most attention usually see price be reflected in that, at least eventually. So it's certainly a very important thing to track. Yeah, but I'll stop there. I just covered a lot.
Yeah. I should have never had this blind spot, but we were just too busy, shitcoining. I made money on shitcoin, so I don't really mind really. But if I was full time crypto, which I can't be right now, I would have had my eyes on this. I had people talking to me about it forever. Like even AIXBT, we were on early, right? I think when we started really discussing it on this show, it was in the 100 mil range, 150 mil range, and it's at 510. Vader AI is doing well. I mean, just coins across the board. Our virtuals are doing well, and even I've been a little bit like critical of not AIXBT. I mean AI 16Z, and like obviously because Shaw was just being like so like bad to other founders, and I found he was always stepping out of line, but he's really broken the barriers, and they just keep getting listings and stuff. They just got they just keep getting listings, and they just broke 1.5 billion market cap. It's insane. Like I mean, we were looking at AI 16Z, like what was it, under 10 mil, and maybe even lower than that. I think when it launched, we were all on it really early, and we were kind of like, trying to find out if it was a LARP and if it was good and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's been breaking the barriers. So AI agents aren't going anywhere. A lot of them are annoying. A lot of them are. I feel like I'm just gonna start muting a lot of them, but some of them are really, really good. Like AIXBT, insane mind share there, insane value add really to my timeline. Every time I have AIXBT tweets, I mean, I'm learning something, so that's been good. Um, there's a couple other ones that I don't have the name of now, but I like having a couple of them at least on notifications. I get information so fast from them where before you had to kind of dig for it, and I feel like that's important, right? You need to have all this information quick, and AIXBT really helps with that. I'm in love with that platform, and I really should have just held the bag because I don't use the platform itself, but just the tweets you get are great. Um, there's been a lot. I mean, even corruption. Seth and Chad, he's talking about this F Dream. I've heard about it a little bit. I don't know much about it, but he can corruption. Are you on? Can you discuss a little bit with us? If you can't talk, that's fine. But
What's up, buddy?
yo, what's up? How are you?
Seth?
Pretty good. Hey, what's up, Jake?
You want to give us the rundown? I saw this on Bodago's actually their live show, and I saw there was like a pre-sale for it, and they were saying to like just max bid it because it was going to be insane, and they were giving a rundown of it, but I have no idea what it is. You want to give us like the quick TLDR?
Um, yeah, I can do what I can. I honestly saw the opportunity, didn't know much about it. Um, Golden Eel used to be in here, but he created New Blast City, and he was
Yeah.
very hyped on Dream before, like over the last week or so, maybe last 10, 12 days. I don't know how long. But he got the opportunity for his community for the whales to get in at that point one round. But I didn't know
No
enough about
way.
it. But I was like,
Nice.
point one, I'll take a look and see how fast it goes. Because Dream took like a day or two. Like it took a long time for Dream to reach the sellout of their initial round. So I was just gonna sit there and watch and see what happened. But the early whitelisted wallets, which included like 3 DAOs, got in, and they were allowed a 1 ETH allocation at 200K. Um, and they're still holding all their tokens. And then there was like a VIP round that got in at 0.25 ETH max per wallet at 200K, obviously, and then the round I was in was point 0.1. But so this people are trying to figure out like, so if there's F Dream, what is Dream gonna be? They're not totally related. They're related like cousins, but they don't like share utility. Um, if you just go to his Twitter account, what's his name, Dev Deckard, he gives a pretty good background. He just opened up a new Twitter account that's Dream AI, so it's dr3am underscore AI, and he'll give there's more information there. Let's see if I'll post that. like from what I understand, it's going to be seeking out new investments for the fund to get in on. And then there will be like more of these DAO, what is it, DAO World, or what is it called? I forget. I'm a little hungover.
How's that fun?
Yeah, exactly. And my my reason for holding through all this is that knock-on effect of getting more whitelists to future rounds. So I don't know, like that could bite me in the ass, right? Like this could all disappear before there's any subsequent benefits. Um, but the fund itself is, I think there's probably people in chat that know better.
Oh, it's fun. Yeah. How many new Blast City NFTs did you need to get in?
15 at
Oh,
like when
15.
they were
Yeah.
like 0.02
Yeah, there were nothing.
before.
That was
Yeah,
crazy. Good
and
job. I have
I
a
held
few of
a
those.
shitload. I have
Yeah.
like I have 69 of them.
Holy. At least you got paid out for holding that. Did you get multiple entries with those 69 or
No,
there was only one?
no, but I had 50 at the time, but I upped it to 69 to get like the Giga Chad roll, just in because I feel like if Golden Eel got this for the community, that there's a chance that there's future stuff, and I feel like he might give more benefits to because he has roles right for Giga Chad. So and there's only two of us in there. It's me and what's his name from Riz Dottie from MBHQ.
Nice.
We're the
Yeah,
only
you
two
know
with that
how.
role. So I'm kind of betting that maybe he gets some more of these kind of opportunities and he'll give us a bigger allocation or something like that.
Yeah, and there's not that many listed anymore in New Blast cities. Like I think the floor is up considerably, and they've been doing well. And you know how these things usually go, right? I mean, one usually leads to another, and since they got one opportunity, there's a high chance. It's never guaranteed, but there's a high chance that now they're like, they can get other ones and leverage that to kind of snowball their friendships and stuff. So that's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's working out, man. I really like Golden Eel. He's always been like top. I used to love talking with him when he was in MVHQ, and I'm glad he's doing well. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't easy running that project, especially early on with everything that happened. And I'm very happy to see that he's turning it into, like he never gave up. He was always working hard, and I'm glad to see that it's going this way, where he's able to leverage it and find opportunities for his community and stuff. I mean, that's how you build a successful project. It's not always by just, you know, being like having good vibes and stuff. You need to really produce for your community, and I think he's doing a good job, man. I'm very happy to hear that.
Yeah.
But it's just, yeah,
But about these funds and just AI in general, like man, like it's so hard to know where to go. It's kind of one of those things like, you know, early gold rush times where you want to if
Hmm.
you're interested, you probably want to be involved like all over the
really,
place with some exposure
yeah,
because you know 99% of these things aren't going to be anything, but there's probably going to be two or three things that survive this cycle and you know could be mega long term, right? So it's
exactly.
kind of hard to know. I don't know if this will be it. I don't know if it will be virtuals or something AI 16Z or AI XBT or any of those things like end up doing. But I don't know. I think this is a pretty good spot in the cycle to at least have some exposure across the board.
Yeah,
But finding these funds, like the ones that are going to build out portfolios basically for you and then have, you know, some access opportunity is probably where to look. You just don't know exactly which ones those are going to be. I like base a lot more than soul, so kind of seeing the ones that are open minded to which chain or being on multi chains is a big deal. I think for me. Um, but yeah, I don't know.
I think
There's just so much going on.
I think
yeah. I
base
think
makes a
it's
lot of people. Go ahead, Jake. Yeah.
yeah. No, I think Seth, you made a really good point on like the gold rush aspect of it. It feels very similar to me to NFTs did in 2021, where people in general are like super hype about like the tech and like what it can be. If you like think back, if you're around in the cycle, like there were so many people just like excited about like, oh, NFTs will be able to unlock this and like we'll be able to have like a media company and like I don't know, there's so many different projects that people were obviously hyped up on, and like it was clear even then like that it was like okay, a lot of these are gonna fail for sure. um but just the fact that there was so much I don't know, I'm just using hype over and over, but just excitement in general, like led to a lot of even like the shitty ones, pumping quite a bit in the get go, and that's kind of how I'm looking at a lot of these projects. Is there's certainly gonna be ones that are gonna do like amazing, like there already obviously have been like insane multiples on a lot of the big ones, like Virtual AX, XBT, Fartcoin, Zero Bro, Go, all those in general. But I think, especially now, like how I'm looking at it is I think yes, you can attach yourself to the winners, but there also is going to be so much continued innovation and competition of like new stuff coming out because they're seeing like how much money can be made from creating like these new agents, and the technology is evolving so rapidly as well. Where I think there's just going to constantly be new and exciting like use cases. So personally, I'm looking at as like I want to like keep finding new stuff like over and over, and like riding the temporary wave of excitement on those, and then ideally like rotating rather quick. This is also is kind of the very similar to the fact that like people's attention spans are not even close to the same day as they were. That's like the TikTok brain or whatever, even like 5 years ago. And we saw it with memes, certainly, where attentions rotate so quickly from meme to meme to whatever. I think it's going to be similar with the AI stuff, where people are just going to rotate attention quite fast from one to the other. So personally, I'm like looking at, trying to like constantly finding the new stuff, trying to get early on it. And if it seems good enough, then maybe I'll hold it for a little bit longer. But if it doesn't seem like anything crazy, then obviously, selling off and then finding the new thing, I think is going to be relatively profitable. And it certainly was like last cycle for NFTs. If you were just like gambling on like new launches, and like there was a period where like everything was cooking like crazy if you just kept rotating your funds from one to the other. I know like a lot of very good traders who did well on that aspect. And that's not for everyone, certainly. I think others, it's much safer to just like find the stuff that seems like it has like a built-in a moat, at least, that or can continue to do well. I personally am just worried that like there's going to continue to be um you know uh improvements, I would say, on the technology, and like new incumbents that are going to threaten kind of like the quote unquote old guard, even though it's only been like a couple months. So that's just how what my take is, but I'm certainly interested to hear others as well.
Yeah, I 100% agree, Jake. I'm having these conversations with with Isis a lot of times in our DMs, and Isis in particular and myself, we've spent the last like year doing a lot of our own projects with ChatGPT and Cursor AI, and we feel like we're almost like in too deep with our knowledge. Obviously, we're not experts like on the professional level, but as hobbyists, we know a lot and we're up to date on a lot of the news about AI, and that's almost a dangerous position to be in because you end up right curving stuff. So my mantra right now is left curve with the timeline, go with the vibe, you know, don't overly criticize the real utility versus the speculative utility, right? Like, so, like, I made some of my biggest gains in the last cycle with, not Decentraland, but the other one, um, Sandbox.
Yeah, about you.
And I mean, I believed the metaverses when I first bought that sandbox were going to take off within a year. I believed it. Now I know better, but I want to make sure that knowing better doesn't make me um, doubt the opportunity in the short term, right? So it's like you got a left curve, knowing that the left curve is short term, while right curving in order to find the one that might win long term. So that's where my focus is with the AI stuff, and I know Ross Boss is heavily focused on AI. So I would, if you're interested in, it's the new world, right? We did NFTs, we did meme coins, AI is here now, along with the other two. But if you're interested, I would definitely jump into the focus discussion and scroll through the history, look up some keywords. That's what I did when I first jumped in there. I learned quite a bit about virtuals really quick. I jumped in at virtuals and started DCAing at 132. I accumulated a few ETH worth up to about 166, and I stopped DCAing, which I regret because now it's at 360.
Yeah.
So yeah, just like this is, I love the Arbitrum's getting, a lot of this volume, and I love the base is getting the volume because, man, as much opportunity as there's been during the bear and during the early part of this cycle on Sol, I can't. There's just too many. There's the shitters. There's just so many there, and I know that's some people's forte, but it's not mine. Like
The
I
hyper
need a
casino,
little,
bro. It's just
yeah.
a
I need
casino.
I need a little like just lie to me about utility. Like tell me there's
Yeah,
something that I can bet on that I can look at for a week or two. I'm not trying to jump in and out of stuff every minute. You know what I mean? Like it
that's the
doesn't
thing.
work for me.
A lot of
So,
people, that's why base is good for a lot of, for most people. For most people that were here even last cycle, base is better for that reason because you can actually bid on something like substantiated, like something good, like something that's not just a pump and dump or like a LARP. A lot of the times, Soul is just a lot of rugs, and we know that. Like a lot of us that are in there, we know that. Like you need to have a really good strategy going into Soul. It's never been more true. Like it's just so easy to lose all your money and get rugged. So I think it's still good, but I mean, you have to be really disciplined, and I don't think most people are. I think they are until they get into Solana, and then the gambling takes over, and then they lose a lot of money. We see it even in our shitcoin chat every single day, where people that you think are very good traders, and they make money, but like the next play, they'll just put it all back because they're playing too heavily, and they thought it was a good project, and it wasn't. And I don't mean that doesn't, that doesn't go to say that doesn't mean that doesn't happen on base. It just I feel like it's things move a lot slower, and you have time to do your research, and you have time to really look into things before aping in, right? So you have like better opportunity in a way for it. I think it fits. I think if people try base, it'll fit more their play style than what Solana is doing right now. I think for a lot of the stuff.
yeah, and I think Jake makes the best point though, is that recognize that a promise of utility is in the most cases it's a short-lived um speculative hype thing more than anything. It don't I'm not going to do what happened last cycle. Like even with this win with F Dream, like is the future value of opportunities worth more than this is worth right this second? And
Yeah,
that's
that's
really hard to say because as those opportunities come, if they're you could get like the next one might suck. If the next one sucks, then this market cap might drop by half, and I'm not going to make it back in a shitty release, right? In a shitty new project, right? So like you got to weigh that. Like, if the next one's great, this thing could go up to 100 million market cap, right? So like it's hard, but that's the gamble, right? Or you got to deep dive it enough to feel like you have something's coming. But I don't know. I feel like following what Jake said here is really important, especially at this point in the cycle. Take your wins and see what you can do next.
if there's any takeaway from last cycle, that's it right there. It's take your wins because we can't be making the same mistakes, right? Like
No,
I know AI is here to stay, and I know it's going to go higher, but it doesn't mean that attention is going to stay on whatever project or whatever DAO or whatever that you're in right now, right? So I think everybody should be taking profit always. Doesn't mean don't stay involved, don't keep a moon bag, but when you made 100x, like I mean, that's already a great gain. You gotta at least consider taking even a quarter off the table, even though a quarter doesn't seem like a lot. It's still 25x of your you know what I mean, of your small investment that you put in. So I've been doing that a lot. And this cycle has been my main focus has been just taking profit on everything all the time, and it's helped me a lot. My biggest issue now is keeping that liquidity because there's just so much going on that you start over trading. So that's like every time you learn something, there's something new you need to work on, and that's what I'm working on now is trying to stay more liquid and it's been working for me. It's just I don't want to be over trading, so I'm trying to like stay in between both. Like I'm trying to pick good projects that I could hold, but at the same time I'm trying to take profit and not dumping that profit into the next new shiny thing all in. I'm trying to be like, really you need to know how to manage your balance very well, and it's we're always learning this space.
What's up, guys?
What up,
Love the
JJ?
discussion. No, I mean you hit the nail on the head there, Jinzo. Like, it's good to just take profits, but at the same time, that balance is really hard because, like, I find myself kind of on the other side. Having been through the bear market like all of us, and it's like I have too much liquid. I'm just too like conservative now, and I'm trying to flip that switch, right? And it's a lot harder. But to Seth's point and to your point, like finding the good projects to have, I think a lot of the better stuff to hold the last cycle were these things like I like to call ETH printers, and like F-Dream and things like that that could potentially be those kind of things where it's like, this gets you this and this gets you this and then this gets you this, right? Like you can see it with like, Mad Lads and April, right? They got you like every other airdrop, and Pengu now, like there's, you got the Pengu airdrop, and then they're probably gonna get abstract and then a bunch of stuff on there, right? So
Yeah.
those are like some of the best things you can probably hold in these markets. But yeah, I mean, it's so funny because like last time, we would just hold everything, right? And
Yeah.
so now it's like you kind of got to mix it up a bit, like just sell some, but also try not to sell those things that I think get you those other things.
Yeah, good point. I mean, that's why I'm not even considering selling my Pudgy yet. I have one left, and it's just bringing me so much value. Mad Lads do same thing. Throughout the bear, they give us so many airdrops, so I never even considered selling it, even if I bought it really high. Like, I probably bought it around these levels, but with Soul being much lower, and man, they've given me so much value, and I know it's just going to continue because it attracts more airdrops. Just like Eel's project now, he might become one of those too, where holding that many NFTs might get you more and more and more airdrops. And what do they really cost you? What's the cost basis? You know what I mean, compared to what you got already out of it. So I'm on board with that. I like that play a lot.
JJ, did you? I know you made a great call on the other night. Did you go into that with any kind of size, or did you just go with like? Did you just buy
No,
it?
I only bought one. I mean, I
Yeah.
did consider going
Were
with
you able
size,
to
but
get out? Because I checked it yesterday and it looked like it was back down to where you called it.
yeah, it's about back down. But I'm still holding. I think like NFTs and coins just have
So
like
fast, right? Like if you what you were posting about was about some future utility, right? And that pump was like the initial people finding out pump, whereas that pump had nothing to do with
yeah,
like
yeah. My
actual
my
utility.
my thesis more is like the market cap is so high for the coin, so I figure like maybe you can capture 5 to 10% of that on the NFT. Maybe I'm wrong. I just more of a I like to do these kind of things like Sneaky would always say like it's kind of like market research, right?
What are we talking
So
about?
the Fresa AI NFTs.
Oh yeah, yeah, I saw those. Yeah,
Yeah, they went up to like zero point 0.8, I think, and
that's
they're
sick.
back down to like 0.4 ish right now. So still up for mint. But yeah, I mean, there's that bear market mentality, right, Seth? Because I was like, I'm sure this is a good play, but just being too conservative. But same time, it's like, all right, let's see if something like this can capture attention, right, or like hold a good floor or whatever. But yeah, because the time scales for coins and NFTs are so different, right? Like
Yeah.
a day in coins is like a month in NFTs. Right?
One thing you have to remember is because of how we operate, like all of us in this group, a lot of us, how our brains work. How many times are we actually way earlier than market? It happens all the time. It's happened to us in shitcoins. It's happened to us in every sector where we're like, oh, this is great. Let me get into this. And now we get kind of impatient, and 2 or 3 days went by, and we don't realize how, like, we think, we're wrong, right? But in reality, we don't realize how early we were compared to the market. And that happens very often. And I mean, we can't get discouraged on our bags. You know what I mean? Like, just wait it
Yeah.
out. You're right about your thesis. Let's say a lot of the time, sometimes we could be wrong, right? Maybe the market doesn't agree with us. But until people find out outside of this group or outside of even us how we are, it takes time sometimes. And how many times did I get burned just selling up, being like, this went up, but I don't think it's gonna go much higher. Maybe I'm wrong. And then all of a sudden from there, 15x's after I sell. So just don't get discouraged when you have a good thesis, I think.
Yeah. So
sometimes
that
being
point.
early on
Oh,
the
sorry.
chart, or sorry, sometimes being early on the chart, right, with your position, whether it's NFTs or coins, it kind of messes with the perspective. Whereas like you could buy into a meme coin 6 months after it started, and it's already, rocketed and dipped almost back to zero 3 times, and you're more positive about that than something that you just got into that you know a lot about. Like, you sometimes knowing too much and being too early, puts you in a situation where you're not as comfortable with the price action as you would be if you jumped into a chart after it's kind of gone up and down a few times.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. And like being in multiple groups, I think in this point in the cycle is very good.
Yeah.
Because for my DFS players here, it gives you an idea of leverage, right? And I'll give you an example like Pengu, right? I thought like, man, these seem like they're free, right? To like 35. I said little Pengus to 4, and like some conversations with other people, and in a lot of these groups, it's like you see a lot of anger, right? And like MHQ is probably one of the only places where it's like, excited about Pengu, and like all these other like alpha or cook groups or whatever. Like, why would I buy NFTs? NFTs are done, blah blah blah. And you're like, for the DFS players, it's like, oh man, the field is so underweight on this. It's like, it's so underweight. There's these can go so much higher.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that
Speaking. Go ahead, Jake.
analysis a lot. That's great. I just want to say that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, speaking of NFTs, I wanted to give a little rundown here. Azuki still running 12.65 ETH. Everybody's just waiting for that anime drop. Pudgies are doing well too, above like 20 ETH is very good. I think that's fair value for them. 21.75 right now. Pudgies 2.4, little Pudgies I mean. And all the Azuki ecosystem is doing great. 1.6 for the Azuki elementals. Bored apes bleeding. Everybody's looking for that next airdrop, so obviously it's natural that people are selling their apes to get into some of these other assets that are like almost the same prices as apes. I mean, they need to pick it up honestly. Like I don't know what I know they're working on their games and stuff, but I feel like apes are just like lagging behind, and rightfully so. Really, everybody else is just taking away mindshare. We keep talking about mindshare, but that's what it is. I mean, we need to go where the attention is going, and it's not on the apes right now. Hopefully, they can have a resurgence because I want to dump my bags, but maybe one day. And yeah, the beans are at 2.7 Azuki Elemental beans, not the actual beans. 2.7 ETH. I mean, yeah, we're seeing a lot of good action here. Even CryptoPunks are pretty stale at 38, but again, everybody's looking for that airdrop. They know they can leverage the new assets for airdrop, and maybe we'll see. I think we see some of these pump once the airdrop season kind of ends, where someone will be like, "Oh, I always wanted to get a CryptoPunk. I have the opportunity to do that now," and even a Bored Ape we might get a little bit of that action. So I don't think they're done by any means, but I just think right now the action is on the big two, I will call them, because right now the big two airdrops coming are the Pud, like Abstract and Azuki. So yeah, it's nice to see action in the ETH markets, even though ETH is kind of down. On the ordinals side, same thing. We're seeing a lot of like pumps. We had quantum cats that ran all the way to 0.37. I think they did a PFP change, and they've just had a lot of. They even got AIXBT agent to PFP one of the cats. I mean, it's been cool. I think it was the creator of Quantum Cats sent AIXBT agent a Quantum Cat, and then through code he was able to like respond and PFP it. So that was cool to see a little bit of crossover there. Bitcoin Puppets back at 0.15 almost. That's nice to see. Node Monkeys at 0.13 and Pizza Ninjas at 0.11. Pizza Pets 0.004, huge jump there because so many pets have been dying. I think I said it on last week's show, but I accidentally killed my pets too. I'm a very bad father. I let them all die. So yeah, thank me for your pets going up in value. Like I just completely bad. I just played that all wrong and lost a lot of value there. So that's it. And yeah, on the Solana ecosystem, Mad Lads just keep doing their thing, right? Still at 64 Sol. I think they're gonna get a lot of value this cycle. I'm not even looking to sell mine. I think I'm just gonna hold it forever. Honestly, at this point, I think I got more value out of it than the price of the actual NFT itself. So yeah, that's all I got on NFTs.
Yeah, we talked
I
about this
agree.
last week, but we're certainly still the theme of tokens being the driver of NFT value at the moment. at least on the east side of things, I guess. Not as much with the ordinals. So that's interesting to see, at least that the ordinals are getting traction without, the token hype. But like pretty much all the ETH ones are fueled by token speculation or featured token airdrop. From Azukis to Pudgies with abstract, and even some of the other stuff like Doodles and Pool Cats had like a temporary pump, and Sappy Seals with Monad, and yeah, some of these other ones too. So interesting that they're still really not. I don't know. I don't know. It's like hard because there's not like a full, um, you know, actual demand for NFTs. It seems like it's almost like like a fake demand just because people want the airdrop. Like JJ was saying, like and you Jinzo about holding stuff that's gonna print you more ETH. That seems to be the reason right now, and not as much like the community aspect that was the reason, and like the art that was the reason last cycle. So I'm wondering if that's gonna come back ever at some point. But for me right now, it seems like NFTs are kind of like in a only like a temporary demand phase, and I don't know if it's like fully caught on yet. It's just like only for token stuff.
Yeah, that's a great point, Jake. I was joking with someone else, like, when they're like, when should I sell it? I'm like, if you remember with apes and the dogs, people were speculating the dogs would find ape coin and like other side and stuff. And that's when you sell. When people are just pulling things out of their
Seth, were you gonna say something? Sorry, I don't know if I cut you off.
No, I was just gonna make a little one-off. I think I saw Cap or somebody say that they were just feeding their pizza pets beer and giving them showers, and they died.
That's crazy.
Funny. Yeah, you can't, I guess showers and beers aren't enough to keep someone alive.
They
But
exploded.
the funny thing about all of this, especially what you're talking about, JJ, and ETH printing, is like when you said that, the first thing I thought about was Kevin Rose, and the big catalyst for what's it called, going up to 100 ETH, before
proof.
Moonbirds. Yeah, proof. Like that was the thesis, right? Was it was just going to print, and it was going to print based off of limited access to artwork, right? And that's kind of a hard sell. Like it was an easy sell at the time, but now looking back, that's kind of more difficult to sell. But if the if if it's not art, right, and it's like token allocation or token opportunity, like that's an easier sell for me personally.
Yeah.
Like just going back to this F Dream or AIXBT. I was just looking at a tweet that said that there's several holders of AIXBT that have like $12 million wallet positions. So like you want to be part of like a VC fund. Like I feel like that's what that's saying. Like, these people are holding for a reason, and it's going to be that knock on ETH printing effect. And it's going to happen somewhere, right? We don't know how long it's going to survive, but we know that someone is going to get that proof move, right? And it's going to be one of the ones that we've mentioned probably.
I don't know
Yeah,
if
and
everybody just woke up. Sorry, JJ, you can
no
chime in
worries,
in
no
a
worries.
sec. I just wanted to cut in. I don't know if everybody just woke up all together at the same time, but all of a sudden the market is hyper green right now. I don't know if you guys have been watching this, but everything's pumping like crazy. Even shit coins that I'm in, I've been like rocketing for the last 15 minutes. It's been insane. I've been watching these charts and I'm like, what the hell is going on here, bro? I think, yeah, the front run is in, boys. Let's go. Go ahead, JJ.
No, I was just gonna say, like, to Seth's point, like, it just, like, it probably will happen. Like, history, like, doesn't repeat, but it rhymes, right? Like, it just probably won't look the same. uh, Like, to Seth's point. But yeah, it could be AI, it could be shitcoins, some sort of, you know, gaming even. I don't know. Like, on-chain heroes could be one of those things. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I've heard a bit about on-chain heroes. Do you think that that's has some good longer term? Well, when I say long term, I mean like this cycle. How do you feel about it throughout the rest of the cycle?
Yeah, I mean, I really like them. I haven't picked one up, but I don't know. I kind of am thinking Abstract will be sort of like a farm chain, like Blast. Like, I have no evidence to support that, but that's just like what I'm speculating. So like I've just been trying to get like whitelists Abstract projects, and I think like that one will be one of the premier projects there, and
Sure.
obviously gets you a lot of on-chain activity, right? Because it's a game.
Yeah, definitely. No, that definitely makes a lot of sense. Is how would you categorize the whitelist process for abstract projects? Is it holding assets? Is it participation driven? What is it?
Definitely both. It feels like 2021 where people are like GM.
I'd rather just meet a snapshot, holding something, but whatever.
Yeah, and I think pudgies and related stuff will probably get to that point. I mean, like that Rui one. I think if you held certain things, you could send to a pre-sale, and it's the same thing I'm seeing. Like a lot of these groups outside of MHQ are like 0.07 for a mint. They're raising $2 million. Blah blah blah. Never, right? And it's like, oh, the leverage is built in.
Oh, definitely. I'm gonna dig into on-chain heroes some more today, I think.
Yeah, that's one I need to dig into as well. It certainly seems pretty bullish. That's like one of those that you're mentioning, JJ, of like the potential ETH printer asset. I was gonna ask like, is there anything else that you guys wanted to shout out that you think is kind of in that similar vein?
How about
Yeah,
hype?
I was gonna go on Chain Heroes, but go ahead. Sorry, Seth.
You think hype holding just the hype token will be one of those?
Hype opened their staking today, I think. I'm
They
not in that
did.
eco, but yeah.
They did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I bought the top at $8 and then got into a shitty leverage position that I needed to put some more money into. So I sold it at like 14. I'm pissed. All for a bad trade on another on another
hey,
chain.
Yep.
It's all right.
yeah, those
Done
kind
that
of
plenty.
things scare me, just because like if the base token goes down, then all your plays on that eco go down. Like, but the hype seems really good. I'm not a leverage trader or anything like that, so I'm like, I didn't touch it, but yeah, it seems, like it seems that you definitely want to be like curious about like trying all these things, right? Like Kato, I think all you have to do is do one yap and have 10 followers, then you got to mint this like thing that's now 4 ETH or something like that for point one.
Yeah.
So I think definitely touching everything you see that looks interesting is where we're at this point. I know that wasn't your question, sorry, but I don't know if anyone else knows more about hype or the ecosystem. They can chime.
Really quick. So I'm just gonna drop this. I have a. If anybody you feel free to get rid of the referral code. But have you guys heard of Revert?
Like revert finance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you used it at all?
Uh, to like check like liquidity pools, I think. But outside of
Yeah,
that,
exactly. So they got a token coming if anybody's
oh,
in a
nice.
farming mood. So I actually really liked it. I used it to LP the F Dream token, and it was so much better than using like Uniswap or something. Even though it uses Uniswap, but I really like the interface.
Oh, cool. I had no idea that you could LP on there now.
Yeah,
That's
no,
awesome.
it's clean. It's so cool. Like you can move positions pretty easily. You can like auto compound. You could set like automatics, like close position settings. You can um, you can do auto move range where it'll move the range of your LP automatically based off of different ratios and percentages that you can input. So it kind of gives a lot more usability and functionality to V3 LPs.
That's a huge shout out because I think LPs are, I don't know, just insanely good right now, especially on the virtual stuff since that's more slow moving
Yeah,
and
that's
you can
kind of what
de-risk
I'm
there.
working on with my um, agent, my LLM stuff, my ChatGPT is I'm trying to build a monitor for new tokens, and then I want to build a bot that can enter LP positions, within a time frame, and then exit them within a time frame, and try to
Sounds like
scalp out LP positions.
sounds like we need a field report, Seth.
It does sound like that.
If it gets there, I'll do it. But it's a lot of.
No, this is huge though. I didn't even know. I mean, Revert is pretty big, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And LPs are. It's a little bit of a more mature um, DeFi strategy to partake in, right? It's like there's the soul streets of buying shitters off pump.fun, and then there's the LP, which is kind of, I don't know, I see it as it's a probably an somewhat underexposed element in DeFi, with a lot of edge if you don't just jump into everything, and you kind of know something about a token before it goes live, and you can predict that it's going to have some volatility, and it's going to have some lifespan, right? You need it to live a little bit, and you need it to have a little bit of volatility, and based off of those metrics, you need to know kind of where to put your ranges. But I definitely want to focus more on LPs this cycle too. Just I like the idea of scalping them. You can get so much in such a short period of time if you know how to set your ranges right.
Yeah, and y- this is just good in general because it's like another thing to farm. So
Yeah.
appreciate that shout. But it's funny, like some of the strategies you learn, like Relic Hunter. If you guys remember him, I don't even know if he's here anymore. But one of the things he taught me was when he would go like on vacation, he'd have his stable bag and like his ETH that he didn't mind swapping, and he'd just put it in an LP, just WETH USD, just make money while on vacation.
Such a sharp guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Love it when
mean,
he chimes in. Yeah.
you could definitely do like Revert for like a lot safer kind of things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Quick shout out before I
Trying to.
forget. We can continue this convo, but let me just shout this out real quick. Saga Zero Week 4 for MVHQ missions ends in 50 minutes. So if you haven't done last week's because you were away with holidays or whatever, you have 50 minutes to still get your points for week 4, and then we flip into week 5 here in less than an hour. So if you haven't done your boosts or whatever for MVHQ app missions, get them done because it's ending soon. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Thank you.
No, you're good. Definitely
That's
do them
good.
now if you haven't, because you might run into some issues with the faucet.
But yeah, I mean, back to the question, I guess on ETH printers or things like it. Like I think you guys covered them all with like the tokens and stuff. But I know the virtuals, and I haven't really that's also been sort of a blind spot to me, Jinzo. But some of those, you hold this one and you get this one. I think like Sploots, I think that's like Jonah Blake's. Like you hold that, you get something else. I think he just said he took a snapshot like an hour ago. So definitely things on there seem like if you just hold them, you just get more of something else, and that could be something to look into as well.
That reminds me, I know Seth, you briefly touched on earlier with F-Dream, but DAOs.fun just in general with their, I think they have 4 different tokens, and they just release staking for whitelists. I can't remember if you mentioned that maybe briefly when you were talking about them earlier, but I think that would kind of fall under a similar thing where you can get perpetual whitelists for these new DAOs that pop up.
You said DAOs.fun. Did you mean DAO's World, or is DAOs.fun?
Oh, is that what it is? Is there 2 different ones? There's definitely DAOs.fun that's pretty big.
Okay. Yeah, the F Dream came from DAO's World.
Oh,
They have
DAO's
4
World.
farms on it right now.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of then.
Yeah, and you could stake F Dream or stake Dream or F Dream to earn whitelist token, stake AISTR, same thing. And that one's been a hell of a
Yeah. How's
printer.
World?
Yeah. Actually, thank you. I didn't
I
even
I shared the tweet.
farm page
Boy, say
just
yeah.
came up. Nice. Cool. They must have just did you say they just did this?
Yeah, this is from yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah.
sick. Cool. Well, here I go.
Yeah, so this is like on my to-do list to look into deeper. I haven't gotten a chance to yet, but I saw some smart people talking about this already.
Good shout. Thank you.
Yeah, I definitely need to look more into that because I've seen it pop up, but just kind of, you know, when you get too comfortable, and that's
Yeah.
the thing, we need to fight because if it's worth doing, if it's a little bit of friction, it's worth doing, especially in this market.
Yeah, speaking of that, Alphabot has a farm going right now for their token boost. So if anybody's looking for another thing to farm and they get whitelist, obviously, you should probably jump in that, and you probably already have some points from using the platform last year.
Nice. I have too many. Uses probably is like 200.
Esis, I think Esis is like across his wallets is like 7 million points or something.
Yeah.
Crazy. You should, Jake. You're gonna talk about Padre at all?
Padre.
Yeah.
To get
Yeah, I was
our
gonna
community progress.
thanks for the
Get indie
segue. I appreciate
progress
that.
lifted up.
Yeah, gotta mention Padre. If you guys haven't seen, check out the HQ announcement from Mitch, where it kind of details our partnership with them. But it's a trading bot, shitcoin trading bot, memecoin trading bot, very similar to Photon or BullX. It's a lot like BullX actually, even like UI and layout. But yeah, it's a pretty awesome partnership we have with them. One, you get lower fees than BullX and Photon, so I mean that's just great in general that you're paying less. It's like 0.8% fees with the MVHQ ref link, and you can get it down, to under like 0.5% if you buy their Padre token as well. But like the main thing is that there's rewards to MVHQ members exclusively. This is a pool that's only for people who are in MVHQ who have the MVHQ key and that are trading on Padre. And they're allocating up to 6% of their token to MVHQ members, which right now their token is I think around 20 mil. I'd have to look it up real quick. Let's see, 18.6. Yeah, so like 6% is I don't know. Math's hard, but that's over $1 million worth of tokens going exclusively to MVHQ members, and that's over the next 3 months. So I mean that's pretty cracked if you are already trading, shit coins and meme coins, and like you're literally just farming these rewards for doing what you would have normally done already. So in my opinion, it's pretty much a no-brainer. Plus, the platform is actually good, and we have a support chat with them, and they like listen to us if there's ever any issues or if we have recommendations and stuff. Then they have been pretty good at implementing them quickly, and they'll also answer whatever questions you have. And they're also they're former NFT nerds, devs. If you've been around in the NFT world, I'm sure you recognize that was a great platform, and they're MVHQ members themselves. So, yeah, would highly recommend Padre stuff.
Yeah, we've hit over 3 million now in volume as a team, and that's good considering it's been really slow for the holidays, and also we had a slow start because nobody was on this. Um, if we don't get to 30 mil, I think we're gonna get very close, and by next month, I think we're gonna be able to do it, no problem. It's just yeah, right now things are slow, but I like it. I think a lot of people are enjoying the platform. Um, They have a lot of cool things coming too, so I'm enjoying it. I should be even I should be doing way more volume on this, but yeah, it's just been slow.
Yeah, even if we don't get to 30 million, we still get paid out.
Oh,
It's
for
just not
sure.
as much of an allocation. Yeah.
Exactly. I consider it a bonus and something to like achieve. Like I don't mean we should like push for it, but I mean
Yeah.
if we do get it, it's insane. It's an insane value add. They're catching a lot of traction on Twitter. I think we're way early to a really good platform here, and they're starting to really get out there more. People don't realize the value add of this yet, and they don't realize how good it is compared to like how profitable it could be for people just to trade on this platform since they're trading anyway. You know what I mean? Why not go to the platform that's giving back the most? And I
Yeah,
think they're starting to slowly understand that.
and again, there's like leverage there just in the token and token farming because I see none of the other groups talking about it.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's exactly like Blur, bro. Exactly like Blur when we got started on there.
Well, it's also
Yeah,
like,
and it's like
sorry, Jake. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say like the awareness factor too is like because of the fact that we're early, like the token price is also low for what it is. Like if you thought of like a Bolex or Photon like release their own token, it would certainly be a lot higher market cap than what Padre's at. So if like Padre can even get like close to that based on attention from our partnership that we're getting and like other groups catching on, then there's like leverage of like as JJ was saying of the token price increasing too, which obviously NFA, who knows what's gonna happen. But and we're getting a fixed percentage. It's not like we're getting a dollar amount. So like if we could also get like quite a bit more if from a dollar amount perspective if the token price increases too. So it's kind of like a snowball effect.
Yeah, and like you said, the guys, um, not only that they were the nerds guys, but they were part of MBHQ, and they're currently in the Discord and the channel I just posted. And one of the best things is that we are actively shaping the experience with our feedback, like we did with nerds. And not only does that give us exactly what we're asking for, but it also gives us an edge in using the platform and kind of being invested with our time and our experience and what we're asking for. So if you are, looking for a platform like BullX that you could trade on several different chains that is missing something, right? This could be the platform that we shape that's not missing those things anymore. That that has everything that we're looking for. So I'm not trading too much, but I've given a little bit of feedback. But there's plenty of people giving great feedback. But I would love it if more hardcore traders were giving feedback because I know that it's going to make it a better platform for me to use.
Yeah, agreed. I've been giving feedback too, and they've been taking it like they respond. They're keeping an eye even on shitcoin chat, and even if we're talking in there, they're seeing what we're talking about and how we're reacting. So, oh wow, let's go, bro! I love the music.
Oh, I was partying, dude. Love it.
This whole thing with Discord, the way they changed, I'm like, especially on your phone. Let's say you're in a call like on VC, and you get a phone call, and then close the phone call and come back to Discord. You're always unmuted. It's so bad, bro. I'm sure a lot of people got caught doing some pretty dirty things on Discord these days. But yeah, that's anybody else got anything to cover? I'm pretty much I'm done going through my stuff here. I guess we could call out some field reports like we always do. There's some decent ones. A little bit lighter on the field reports, but we have some good ones. JD's weekly preview, as always good alpha in there. Oh, a new one that just came out a day ago. Guide to interacting with Eclipse and maximizing airdrop opportunities. Always a good read when you're trying to get airdrops. Yaps for Beginners by JD. I recommend that one if you're looking to get into yaps, like we were just talking about earlier with Kaido. And yeah, Ross Boss. I should probably do some DD before buying an AI token. Yep, absolutely. He runs down a few like key points that you can think through when looking for AI tokens, and I think that's important because there's just so much fluff when it comes to AI and so much LARP that it's important. and obviously Mitch with the Padre trading app and everything you need to know about Padre. I know we covered a lot in this conversation, but obviously there's always so much more to know. So all the details are in there. Yeah, that's it for this week. Not many more. Oh yeah, that's it. That's all I have here. And another update on Soul Decoder if you guys are interested on that.
Love it. Yeah, great. It's really great. Field reports as always. Obviously, MHQ members are smart as fuck. Yeah, one last shout out. Boss Dogs later today, 5 p.m. Eastern, so
Oh,
a little less
canceled.
than 4 hours.
I think
Oh, it got
canceled.
canceled.
Yeah, I saw Ross
Uh,
talk about it. I think it got. Let me go take a look just to make sure. I just saw an announcement. I mean, a notification pop up.
I was looking at last week's events. That's why.
It looks
Never
like
mind.
yeah, canceled Boss Dogs. Yeah, that's it. So canceled for today
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was looking at last week's.
officially.
That's why.
Yeah. Do your missions, people. There's a few of them going up again. So I think one of them just went up for Paradigm, and yeah, farm those points. We always try to make it worth it for our holders. So get in there, do it, spread the word, give your referrals out. MVHQ to the moon, baby.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I think we can wrap the show here. Obviously, you can keep chopping it up here in voice hangout chat, but as far as show goes, appreciate you guys for joining. Thank you, JJ and Seth for your in depth conversation and feedback and analysis as always. Always love the insight. And everyone else who chimed in. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, especially Happy New Year to everybody. You know what I mean? I'm very grateful for everyone in this group. You guys bring so much value every day, and I couldn't imagine being anywhere else. So thank you for everything you do, and really Happy New Year. Love you all.